This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Yeah, but P-Fox, Parker Fox, that Parker Fox 2-4. I want to land the plane on something here. Good morning.
Good morning.
When it comes to, and I know you occasionally listen to 9 to Noon, so maybe you heard this, but I never like to assume everybody listens all the time. A very controversial talker unfurled, second segment 9 to Noon today, and good morning. It was in pro sports, the core four, NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL. Mm-hmm. Which to be a head coach, all right, what's the toughest and what's the easiest? Now, we can take, you were a Division I college basketball player. Mm-hmm. So that is college sports version of the pros, mm-hmm. especially in the Big Ten. So, I don't know what you played during the course of your life outside of basketball extensively. Your girlfriend is the highest of high-end hockey players. Your knowledge with hockey has increased dramatically over the years. Then we got baseball and then we got football. So which one at the pro level do you think is hardest and or easiest for the manager or the head coach?
Ooh, that's a tough question. And I didn't listen, so I'll have to go back and see what you kind of guys decided on. My first initial instinct as the hardest is MLB. And I say
hardest?
The hardest. Yes.
Hold on.
And you guys might have went the opposite way, and I totally understand it.
Can't wait to hear this.
162 games.
Yeah.
Every single day. So you don't have a week to prep for each game.
There was a Tommy talkback. So I kind of pointed out go ahead.
Yeah. 162 games. Yeah. You do it every single day.
Preach.
The percentages of at bat and hitting based on lefties and righties, pitchers and hitters make a huge difference. So you have to make these quick decisions in the moment to put a pinch hitter in or to bring somebody out of the bullpen or start getting somebody ready in the bullpen. I know they have a lot of help with bullpen coaches and base running coaches and all that kind of stuff. And I know this could be argued a bunch of different ways, but I'm going to go baseball with the hardest. I'm going to go MLB with the hardest.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of where I went right away with how many games and how many quick of a turnaround and all that. Well,
what's the easiest?
And I'd say the NBA is easiest.
What are we talking about again?
Hold on.
And I don't know if I agree on that. And I know we could argue NFL is the hardest, but I go NBA the easiest just because I think when you talk about the NBA and you talk about making decisions as a head coach, X's and O's wise, yeah, that can be great. But sometimes when you have these elite players, and if you're a coach and if you're a guy that you maybe coached a guy like LeBron or somebody like that, winning championships, could you name me who LeBron's coaches are throughout his championships? Probably not as well as you could, name some of these, some of the NFL,
Eric
coaches. Spoelstra's one, yeah.
Tyronn
Lue, yep.
Was it Vogel in 2020?
Frank Vogel.
We're elite basketball minds, so
who's the fourth one?
You might want to bring questions like that to the AM side of the equation.
What are we talking about again?
Who was the fourth?
Who was the fourth?
It was. I
don't even know if I can name it.
No, I can. It was Casey Jones.
All right.
What are we talking about
there
again?
you go.
Now, hold on.
So there's my answer. I'm going NBA easiest, MLB hardest.
Yeah.
So what are we missing here? Because we thought MLB was easiest and not even close.
Really?
Yeah, you're
I completely understand.
You're atop the dugout chewing sunflower seeds, making sure your off-day pitchers aren't eating fried chicken and playing Boo-Ray during the course of the game.
Well, that's the key, though, is he came at it from an angle that was different than mine, which then produced a different answer. I'm thinking the sport that would look the most like it does at its highest peak, and you just take that manager out of the equation. I think baseball, again, but to that end, 160, we're talking about 6 months of managing humans. There are those tweaks and things. The NBA side of it, though, we did talk about that, Parker. Kind of like Anthony, you can call the right timeouts, you can put in the right plays in singular moments and those things, but for long stretches of games, And even as a guy that watches the NBA throughout the year, there does feel like there's a mid-December game maybe where the head coach he's going to dial this one back a little bit in terms of got to keep the voice right. Not going to get mad maybe if there's this weird third quarter run that just needs to not happen. But over the course of an 82-game season, can these true athletes, because it just moves around, right? Over the course of the game, you know the tenets of it, what kind of offenses that you're going to run. You could definitely play a lot of games maybe if the coach wasn't in the mix.
I think being in a basketball locker room, you've kind of seen, yes, there's a lot of things that coaches can do. Don't get me wrong. But I think 95% of that goes on behind the scenes. When the basketball game has occurred, it's basically just substitutions and maybe a couple tweaks here or there. You know what defense they're going to throw at you. You know what's going to happen versus like in a baseball game. Hey, anything could happen. You could throw in a different pitcher and then boom, your lineup has to change like that because that pitcher is pitching left-handed batters at a 0.15 clip. So I think if you're a baseball manager, you always got to be on your toes with that versus kind of with basketball. The 8 or 9 guys that are going in the game. You know when to sub them. Mike Conley's coming out at the 8-minute, for Dante DiVincenzo.
To play Dawson 46 minutes, everybody else 22
just to leave
or less.
Dawson Garcia in the basketball game and don't sub him out. So
okay, now hold on. We have something potentially National Football League major developing, and it has a local tie to it. All right, now, Mr. Eric Nordquist, please vet this out because I'm looking at it from an Instagram that somebody just sent me via text.
At Adam Jester on Instagram?
And Brian Prudhomme from the Fan in Duluth, who has a Saturday show with this guy Dave. I join that show frequently, and Brian is salt to the earth. I don't think Brian would send me this.
Oh, is this the Pelissero thing?
If it wasn't accurate. But Detroit Lions center and Chanhassen native Frank Ragnow is retiring.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm seeing it too.
Okay, so this is real?
Yeah, I'm seeing it from Pelissero. Let me see the Instagram screenshot.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Duluth.
Rappaport.
Yep. These past couple of months have been very trying as I've come to the realization that my football journey is ending and I'm officially retiring from the NFL.
That sucks.
I've tried to convince myself that I'm feeling good, but I'm not. And it's time to prioritize my health and my family's future. I've given this team everything I have, and I thought I had more to give, but the reality is I simply don't. I have to listen to my body, and this has been one of the hardest decisions of my life. The Lions organization has been absolutely incredible throughout this process, and I can't emphasize this enough, how grateful I am for this team and all the fans. It was an absolute honor going to battle with you or for you all. And so Pelissero picked up on it, and it's being co-signed by all the right names. So,
when 80% healthy, just 80, not 90. 80-ish percent healthy, one of the best 2 or 3 centers in the NFL. Tough as nails. And getting to know him, not only because he's local, but Ben Lieber knows him quite well. So pregame, US Bank Stadium, some Ford Field, a lot. They're nearly 2 hours before the game. There's Frank trying to get, an ankle, a knee, a back, a shin, a sternum, trying to get the whole thing cohesive just to play a game. So we would walk out on the field and chat with him briefly. Just one of the nicest, kindest, toughest, mentally strong football players, or really athletes that I've come across in all my years doing KFAN or calling Vikings games.
Wow.
And wow. What's analogous here is, okay, you didn't play pro. And, so therefore, with all due respect, Parker Fox didn't build up the professional cachet that Frank Ragnow has. However, you are just a couple to a few months removed from seeing X amount of years of your life, let's say 15 years from AAU through everything at the highest level, and then eventually playing Division I basketball against guys who are in the NBA. And then, I'm not going to put a 100%er on it for you. It mostly probably may be done at the professional level forever. And that probably hurts. Well, it probably doesn't hurt as badly now as it did when Sky Umah finished. But just put your mind and your heart there. And then, try to channel it for being this guy who, I don't know, man. I mean, it feels like Frank was like 6, 7, 8 years into the game. How far into it?
Yeah, he was 2018.
29 years old.
Jeez.
He's not even, he probably, I mean, in today's NFL, you're going to, if you can keep putting the pieces together, he's probably got almost a decade left in him, right?
Perfectly stated. That's what I was going to say, is right around a decade or a little less. And you can't do it because season ends. And now it's like, okay, we're going to follow all the rehabilitory instructions and what we're supposed to do to get this thing right. And then in February, before OTAs or around the Super Bowl, Warhorse is going to get out there and start running and bending and stretching and working on things. And it still ain't good. And then it still ain't good. Then 2 weeks later, it's worse. Okay, now we got it better, but now this is worse. I mean, what an agonizing situation that must be for somebody, right?
Well, I think when you talk about a guy like him, like you said, top 2, 3 in his position in the NFL on a team that has a chance to win a Super Bowl in the upcoming years. There's 2 reasons why a guy like that up and retires. One, it's a contract thing, and you're trying to figure out money. Or 2, your body frankly just can't go anymore. And at 29 years old, that's clearly what it is. And that's the worst way to go out, PA.
Yeah, that's super sad.
It's obviously different than my story with, just having my 3rd knee surgery a couple weeks ago, but it's similar in a way where you're doing everything you can. And especially the news coming right now, this late, he was clearly trying to gear up and he was trying to figure out how I can play a football season, how I can be the center for the Lions this year. And it just became too much on his body, and he's not going to be able to do it. And I think a selfless thing too for him to kind of recognize that, and that's really hard to recognize. Hey, I can't take this team to a place that they need to go.
Preach.
That's the toughest part of the equation. It gives me chills because I kind of felt it in myself. It almost feels like you're giving up
until he heals his body for a year, doesn't file his retirement papers, and is the starting center for Ben Johnson's Bears next year.
Don't say it.
Maybe there's a long play here, the con.
Or maybe he has dreams of playing for the Purple on the comeback.
Here we go.
Where's he from?
Chanhassen, Minnesota.
It's interesting too, kind of reading through the tea leaves. Clearly, this is something that has been, as Parker was talking about. Like, I bet you since the season ended, they've been on this grind. And I don't know much about the player, but looking back, they drafted a guard, Tate Ratledge, in the 2nd round. And so it's not just about, we want to, figure out the future of a Graham Glasgow and et cetera. And constantly let's make good gooder. Let's make better, the best in the league if possible. I wonder what Tate Ratledge can do from the center spot. If this was something Ragnow's our guy, we want to put everything behind Frank. But maybe in March and April, if they're like, if this goes the wrong way, we got to be able to protect ourselves as well. They drafted an offensive lineman in the 2nd round.
Well, I mean, it's not to be a doomsayer situation for an extremely gifted team, but they now are working through the loss of an offensive coordinator who was incredibly highly touted, became a $13 million a year head coach for Chicago. Their defensive coordinator from last year is head coach of the New York Jets. He took some of his dogs with him. Hank Fraley, former offensive line coach for the Vikings, he was the offensive line coach for several years for the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
He left and went to Chicago with Ben, I think, to become the offensive coordinator. And now their man in the middle, their anchor to everything. Frank Ragnow retires.
A lot of missing pieces.
Yeah, that's more than catching strays. That's like catching the whole thing.
But above all else, you hate to see.
No cap.
I mean, a lot of people from a year-to-year basis will try out undrafted rookies, et cetera, and they'll grind, and maybe they make a team, maybe they don't. But ultimately, they didn't make the cut. It kind of stinks when you see a situation where ultimately this guy is, I think, all-pro level 3-4 years in a row now.
Yes.
It's being taken away from him because he just simply can't get healthy. And that's just, it's sad to see, no doubt.
All right, Pete Fox is here. We have Indy and Oklahoma City for the NBA championship. That begins on Thursday. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 6-1 favorites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big time.
Well, it's maybe I'm wrong here because when you and I go back and forth on like over-unders or money lines or point spreads, I mean, I think it's not your record against me because we're not battling, but like I'll come into it and be like, well, I think, tonight's game is going to be of the overwhelming variety.
I always love that.
And then you'll be like, I see it as an under. And then all of a sudden, 5 minutes to go in the game, it's like 79-77. I'm like, P-Fox, hey, you saw that one clearly send. So you're in a roundabout way pretty good with this stuff. I think for what it's worth, 6-1, meaning I got to put up my $6 to win somebody's $1. Mm-hmm. Well, it's either a passola or if you think it's a cinch and that's what you do for supplemental income or a living, it's 600 large to win 100 large or 300 to win 50. Other than that, I have a high level of respect for the Indiana Pacers and the team element of it. Now, OKC has that team element too with Case and Wallace and what they do off the bench. Caruso's been a great. Well, we just saw the whole thing, and they do have the star of all stars ever to star in Shea. But we saw it when the Pacers came to Target Center on a Monday night, and they're down 4 starters. Then Andrew Nembhard gets thrown out of the game in the second quarter.
Yeah.
They have no starters, and they're playing, I think, a full complement or close to it Wolves team.
And Obi Toppin hits like 8 threes.
They go to overtime and beat them.
Yeah.
Beat the Wolves. So then the Wolves played a full, mostly, if not all, full complement Pacers team at whatever Market Square Arena is called these days. And
Cambridge Fieldhouse.
Pacers beat them.
Yep.
Pacer, and that doesn't mean the Wolves are the barometer, but the Wolves are top 4, top 5, top 6 in stock, and they're a hard team to beat, specifically when the superstar's on his game. So, if you had $1 million, all right, if you had $1 million and it's like a game that we're playing, and you got to put either $600, just forget the million, $600 to win 100 on OKC. Or 100 to scoop 550 on Indiana.
Yeah.
Which way are you going?
Yeah, I think it's the safe bet to go with the Thunder. I hate that it's 6. I really do.
That sucks.
I don't know.
Well, you're always right with these things, and I like the Pacers.
I know, and I like
see,
this.
I
do. I love this Pacers team, man. They shoot the ball.
I know.
If there's a team that can do it, it is this Pacers team. They're a 40+% 3-point shooting team, which is highest in the NBA by over 3 or 4%. So if there's a team that can really shoot this team out of the gym, it is the Pacers. But
that's what we thought about. That's what we thought about the Wolves.
I know.
Who shot a ton of threes and made the most of anybody in the league. Just clear Malik Beasley, his former teammate.
Yep.
Until Dagnall in the first game was like, let me get this straight. Statistically, we see here that you guys shoot a lot of 3-pointers. We don't happen to think you're as good at it as you do.
Yeah.
And we also don't think your reserves are as good at it as they think they are.
Well, they were right.
Hey, kitty, we're just going to go ahead and let you shoot them. And you're going to cut your nose off to spite your face.
Yep.
And Dagnall was right. So now maybe that's the case here. Pacers are better than the Wolves. They're a better basketball team than the Wolves. Well, I don't see how we can even say I think they are.
Yeah.
They beat them twice. One time, it might as well have been a Jimmy Butler memorial game, playing the back 5 guys on the bench against our starters and winning.
Yeah.
So it's good having you in my life, and here's why. Because I'm racetrack raised. So having worked at a racetrack in the racetrack industry for more than half my life, like 32, 33. If you take the years that I wrote for newspapers, 99, 09, 19. Yeah. So starting in 89 at the Pasadena Star-News through now, being racetrack raised, I'm built to beat favorites.
Yeah.
So sometimes I let the juicy nature of the plus 450 or the 4, 5, 8 to 1 just kind of overwhelm me a little bit and forget about the facts of like how people play or equine athletes run.
Yeah.
So, it's minus 600 because that's what it's supposed to be to create even action for the bet makers taking it. But why would you like OKC, absolutely against Halliburton and his crew?
Yeah, I wish there was enough juice there for me to be like, hey, let's see what Indiana can do. I just think it's too much. I think the Thunder are too much. Yeah. They're both teams that can make threes. They were 1 and 2 in 3-pointers made throughout this regular season. But the defense is something that I look at from the Oklahoma City Thunder. They lead the league in steals at 10.3, and then they're a top-tier team in assisted turnover. So they're doing two things really well. They're taking the ball from you, and they're not giving the ball back to you. They push it in transition really hard. They score the ball really well. They do things from a competitive standpoint that I just don't think the Pacers can match.
Yeah.
In just toughness and in grit and in Alex Caruso and in some of these guys that they bring off the bench, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, that are just too much for some of the guys that the Pacers bring off the bench. And I think in a 7-game series, when you have to beat a team 4 times, I think the Thunder just have the upper edge, PA.
That's Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24 via Twitter, if you'd like to follow, as 9 to Noon does, and you were so inclined. Into the penultimate segment for this Monday, and we're going to get into some more stuff involving the NBA Finals and the Minnesota Timberwolves and the fallout after losing in the Western Conference Finals and what it means to P-Fox, plus some more when 9 to Noon continues at FM 100.3 KFAN.
What did I do wrong?
Good stuff.
Just listen.
Who would you rather have and why? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or
Yes.
Anthony Edwards? Okay.
Yes.
Who would you rather have and why? Tyrese Halliburton or Anthony Edwards?
Ant still.
Who would you rather have and why? Anthony Edwards or Jalen Brunson?
Ant still.
Yeah, Jalen. I mean, I like Jalen.
So do I.
Jalen's got some
And
cold
we need
blood.
a point guard. We do need a point guard. So I get
Jalen
that
has some
side of
cold blood. No, I'm just spitballing, just messing around. But I watched Jalen more closely. Well, the Pacers Knicks series mostly had the bomb to it.
Oh yeah,
like big comebacks and things like that. And Pascal Siakam has never played better. He was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be Tyrese Halliburton.
Did you see that video?
No, what?
Oh, they're releasing the video, and they're like the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and Tyrese Halliburton starts like dancing and walking.
Oh, come on!
And he starts walking towards the trophy.
You're kidding me.
And then they go Pascal Siakam.
I always love that.
And he just
Are you kidding me?
Oh, it's hilarious. It's very minor,
Jeez.
but if you zoom in on just Tyrese Halliburton and you watch him, he clearly thinks he's going to get it, which arguably he could have get it. He first ever playoff game with 30, 15, and 15 with no turnovers. Some awesome stats he had, but Pascal Siakam was absolutely excellent. He was their X factor.
In a related story, and it's kind of unrelated, but in a related story, after all of that, Tyrese Halliburton's dad
I always love
now has been suspended and kept away from the NBA Finals for his
backwards
for his reaction to what happened to his kid.
Oh yeah,
and you were gone for a while. Where it's not like we were going to segment this on what should parents of professional athletes do when their team advances through the playoffs? How do they handle themselves? But when Tyrese Halliburton's, is his father's name
John? Yeah.
When John Halliburton walked up to Giannis with a Tyrese Halliburton jersey.
What are you doing?
And kept looking at Giannis saying, "That's what we do. This is what we do." I mean, first and foremost, Giannis keeping his composure.
Oh, yeah, big
and looking
deal.
at this man like a fool, because that's what he was.
A lot of respect to Giannis.
A lot of respect there. In fact, his post-game press conference after that was unbelievable.
You listened to it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was unbelievably eloquent and forgiving. And
all parents of athletes should go and listen to that.
Yeah, it's seriously at all levels. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's post losing to the Pacers in the playoffs. Tyrese Halliburton's dad somehow got on the court, got an all-access pass up in here.
Massive clipping penalty.
With a Tyrese Halliburton jersey 3 feet from Giannis, flashing it in his face, saying, This is what we do.
Yep.
This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you see, what was it, game 4, game 5, maybe he was allowed to come back?
Yeah.
It was sometime last week.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it like he had just been on like some journey. He just got out of captivity and it was like, welcome back, Dad.
Yeah.
Welcome back. You were asked to leave because you were basically accosting a guy on the court.
And of course, the NBA on TNT guys are like, Shaq's like, free John till it's backwards and all this kind of stuff. So they're egging it on, of course.
Tyrese Halliburton is in search of a contract extension. Mm-hmm. Of course, they let Dad back in the arena.
Yeah, weird how that works.
Business
Put him in a
decision
suite,
there.
huh? Hey,
put him in a
safe up
he's
there.
right next to the owner.
Security guy got fired, but other than that.
But 3-2. Oh, yeah. You mentioned Shaq. Okay, so I should know this. So TNT officially is done with basketball.
Yeah, they're done.
So we got Amazon terrorism, we got ESPN, we got a bunch of things like that, right?
Yep.
So like the Ernie Johnson, the whole bit's
The whole
dead.
Turner Sports crew, yeah. Yeah, the whole TNT.
It was Kevin Harlan, man, signing off that last game, Knicks and Pacers. Did you like stick around and listen?
Oh, got chills.
I mean, Harlan got choked up.
He did.
And Kevin's as poised is, but he's going through all these names. They're showing all of the people, Marv Albert and Chris Webber and all the people who have called games. And I was like, well, this sucks. I mean, TNT is sports viewing immortality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like so nobody's going to land with anybody else or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so. I would assume that, a guy like Shaq is pretty easily to be picked up by an ESPN or somebody like that. And then Ernie's obviously so great at what he does. And then you had, Kenny and Chuck to that. I would be surprised if we didn't see their faces around. I know Chuck is kind of lobbying for some different stuff here and there, but, it's crazy how some of these things are ending. It's like that ends. And then we used to have, late night, Pac-12 football. That's gone. I don't get to watch it my Saturday night, late night football.
Why?
Well, just no Pac-12 anymore,
Well, yeah, but I mean, ever since Dion arrived in Colorado, so they're in the Big Ten, right?
What is Colorado even in? I don't think
are they in the SWAC, the Sealed with a Kiss, the Southwest Athletic? Yeah, so Colorado, they because they're in the
Big 12, Colorado football. Big 12.
Oh, it's Big 12.
Yeah, so they're with the big boys.
All right, 2 years ago, I mean, Dion, they go to TCU. They beat Gary Patterson and a ranked Horned Frogs team.
There you go.
Nationally televised. Everybody's on their jock. Hey, Travis Hunter's good. Look at Dion's kid. Dion's kid at the safety and just the whole thing. So then they had a wonderful season. Then it was, and I bring it up because it was a super late night, a Saturday night. 12 football, and they're beating Stanford by 28 points with like 10 minutes to go.
That's awesome.
Well, they get run down and lose.
Yeah,
they didn't win the rest of the year. I mean, it got negatory in Boulder. But that was a late night bit. So as long as Dion coaches this team, unless you get tired of watching Colorado, and good luck to him without Travis Hunter next year, there are late night vibes to watch.
There are.
I mean, at midnight, you can watch Hawaii Rainbow football.
You can always watch Hawaii.
They still called the Rainbow? I don't feel like getting canceled on a beautiful Monday.
There's always late night Hawaii football to be watched.
What is Hawaii called these days? I mean, I dropped I said earlier about somebody's physical condition and what they look like, but the question is, can they play? And I'm
the
like,
Rainbow Warriors.
Rainbow
Warriors.
Heck yeah, it's Pride Month. There you go.
And I'm like, all right, well, that's all fun and games if he looks like Tarzan but plays like Jane.
I always love that one.
I just shut the 64686 right down,
Shut her down.
there. And we're just going to let the gnat-like attention span of 2025 be gnat-like.
Yep, there you go.
We'll come back and try it again
It's the
tomorrow
best way
on
to do
Talker
it.
Tuesday. But yeah, you got Hawaii Rainbow Warrior football.
There you go.
Can you imagine if you if you played 4 years of basketball for Hawaii and you live? I mean, it's in Honolulu. So you got Maui. It's a puddle jumper to Maui.
Yeah.
Just a whole bit.
Easy.
You've been there before, man. Get up to the North Shore, like a 90-minute drive for you and Taylor up to the North Shore with the giant waves. But do you think that would have been cool?
I think it would have been awesome. I think it's whatever, you got to take advantage of it, right? Like I was always, when I was leaving my former school in Northern State and I was looking across the country of, these possible, hey, where do I want to go? And obviously I came back to Minnesota because I loved it here, but San Diego State, hey, we just played in a Final Four. Ooh. Come down here and live on the beach for a year. Oh, Florida State. Hey, we're really good too. Come and live in, Tallahassee's a little different than San Diego, but come and live in some nice weather. Obviously Hawaii wasn't really an option, but I think if you're a type of person that kind of lives that life, lives that vibe, go out there, man, experience. I know one of my teammates, Braden Carrington, he went and visited Hawaii, and I think he just kind of did it for the vacation, and I don't blame him a bit, because that'd be a fun place to go.
Well, there are markedly more players from the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Now, get off the mouse.
Okay.
Because we got a bet coming up.
Okay, I like it.
You kids are so crafty and fast. Stop.
I can do it without looking, PA.
Okay, first and foremost, I was going to be like, I wonder if there ever has been a Hawaii Rainbow Warrior player in the NBA.
Wow.
And now that I look at it, a Basketball Reference, that's 3 in the WNBA. So there have been 8 in the NBA or the ABA.
No clue.
I'm just going to I'm going to give you $20.
No clue.
I'm going to give you $100 if you can name one of these players.
Oh, no, absolutely no clue.
I mean, Nordo and I are league freak raised. I don't recognize any of these names. Most of them were from
Lance Robinson.
See, I think that's incorrect. The most prominent, I think, ended up being a GM.
Okay.
Bob Nash.
Oh, Bob Nash. There you go.
Yeah,
I know
Bob Nash.
I know he's a GM across the league.
He was like a GM, and he was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he played for the Rainbow Warriors.
The Rainbow Warriors. What about football? Any in the NFL?
Oh, yeah.
You know that answer?
There are
a couple of them?
Yeah, there'll be a few from there. All right, so in closing, how's Taylor?
She's great, yeah.
So after going back to back, like what do champions do a week after going back to back? Got to get the body right, the mind right, the whole thing. What do they do?
I think the body worsened a lot as they spent a lot of nights out at the bar as a team and had some fun times.
That's exactly what every woman always wants to hear.
I always love
your
that
body has gotten worse.
Don't take me that way.
Bro, you said it. I didn't say it.
Oh, don't take me that way.
Hey, your body's a lot worse. Did you just win a championship?
I'm talking muscles and rehab. I got goodness gracious.
I got you.
But then we had a nice weekend at the cabin this weekend, hanging out with the dogs and being on the lake and enjoying the weather. And now it's time. It was she was back in the gym this morning, so we were working out, and it's back at it. PA. It never really stops.
Really?
Never really stops.
So, stupid question.
Yeah.
When you are a professional hockey player, PWHL, I don't need to know what she makes, endorsements, the whole thing. But are some required to have jobs outside of the league?
Yeah, I think if I think
just to make ends meet.
I think it's public kind of information what some of these gals are making.
So you can say what she makes.
I'm not going to do that, but
what do you mean? You said it's public knowledge.
Hey, then you can go look it up.
That's
perfect. Put your fingers to your smartphone. But I think that it varies, right? There's some girls that are making, enough money to not, have a second. And I think there's some girls that definitely need to do, some stuff on the side. So, whether that be some, training or whatever that looks like.
Frost players make more than WNBA players.
Really?
Well, if they're making around 80,000 per season on average.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the WNBA might be in the 70s. Something like that.
Caitlin Clark's rookie contract is 70-something. I know that for sure.
Yeah, it's collective bargaining, and the PWHL stipulates that at least 3 players on each team make the minimum of $80,000 annually. That's, of course, Taylor. Taylor is. We wouldn't disrespect you like that. Of course, that has to be you.
Yes.
And the bottom 9 must make at least $35,000. All right. Wow. That's so
I think if you're kind of
split there.
If you're in that bottom 9, then you're probably
yeah.
I don't know what
where are you working?
I don't know what gals are doing, but you probably need to do something else.
You're about ready to drop selling something in Macy's bomb, weren't you?
Oh, jeez. You're putting me in a tough. I hope Taylor doesn't have the free iHeartRadio app opened up this morning.
Why would she? But 3 on the team have to make at least 80. She's one of those 3.
Yes,
she's popping tags right now.
She's doing fine.
Well, wait a second. This is just keep talking for 1 second, okay?
I think it's obviously it's different across the league, right? And now the league's expanding, so I think there's some more money getting thrown in.
The average WNBA salary last year, $147.
Okay. It's the rookie contracts that are in the 70s. Yes.
The league minimum is 62. No, I mean, league minimum is 62. Well, you know what? I mean, why don't you not stick the NBA tens of millions every single year?
That's true.
And then you can go ahead and jump up to that.
The difference between the PWHL and the WNBA is the NBA owns the WNBA, right? The NHL doesn't own the PWHL. They're owned by Mark Walter and his group, so it's kind of a separate deal there. But I think they've been making money and doing really well. So we'll see what it looks like moving forward with two teams expanding with Vancouver and Seattle. But I think the league's in really good hands with Billie Jean King, Mark Walter, and that whole group.
You're the best, my brother.
Love you.
Love you very much. Thank you. Tell Taylor I say hello. Likewise for Zumwinkle. And hopefully we see you next week, all right? P. Fox at Parker at Parker Fox 24 on Twitter.
Fan.
Thank you, Saucy Bossy. Oh, yeah, looky here. On behalf of 9 to Noon Productions and the vast and ever expanding 9 to Noon Audio Network, likewise for KFAN Radio and everybody within the iHeart family, we do want to apologize for the incredibly controversial head coaching talker we developed today and distributed. We recognize it's very difficult to split the answers for the question that was posed, but everybody tried, including us, and we promise to do harder, to play harder and do more tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening to 9 to Noon. I'm Paul Allen. Here comes Big Daddy Khan to put the wrap on the show.
The game is over.
Good stuff.
Just listen. Just listen.
We left at home all the talkers we wrote, but Pat Micheletti becomes the human antidote. Fish in a barrel, just gotta bait the hook. Disagree with him on a couple points, the man cooks. Got a couple finals and we're left spectating. SGA leaving us all bitter, so we're hating. Hoping those Pacers ruin OKC's title run. Vegas building resorts on Indy's 5-1. And once again, it's the Panthers in the oil while trying to lance a salary cap size boil. Hoping McDavid brings a cup to Canadian soil. Yada yada, Brad Marchand and Charlie Coyle. I'm not sure what that means. It rhymes. I digress. Watching these games feels like our favorite squad's a mess. Summertime, refill our emotional resources depleted. But hey, the Lynx, they're undefeated.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.